Okay, I think we are set.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live, IG Live with the Lean in London Network. I'm Sophia, and I am hosting this session today with Wafa, who's joining us from the Real Kossie. Really exciting. So the Real Kossie is an inclusive, community-focused coaching platform which directly advises especially women on their dating concerns, well-being, and career worries. And Wafa is one of their coaches and experts. So this is great because we're going to talk about work-life balance and wellness at work in general, and it's something that so many people struggle with and have questions around and want to know more about because it's such an important topic and everyone wants to really optimize their work-life balance and their work life. And Wafa has a lot of experience in this area as a coach, of course, but she was a banker before and changed her whole career into becoming a career coach, which is very inspiring. So that's what we want to learn as much as possible today. Today's session will be a fairly rapid Q&A session. We've got quite a few questions we want to go through, and we won't delve into them too much. So if you have further questions afterwards, then please get in touch either with us or with Wafa directly, or go to Real Kossie. And if you have any questions during the show as well, you can just pop them in the chat and we'll try and answer them in the end if we have time. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so maybe let's start then. Welcome everyone. Thanks for being here and thanks for being here, Wafa. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. We are live, by the way, on YouTube live stream on my channel, Wellness with Wafa, on behalf of Kossie. So that's why I will be looking at two different cameras, but I'm present and ready for this.
Amazing. Thanks so much. That's great. So yeah, maybe let's start with just introducing yourself, Wafa. Like, who are you? What has your journey been like? And how did you end up where you are today?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So today I'm here on behalf of Kossie, and I'm one of their career coaches. And before that, not so long ago, I was in New York, investment banker. I was living the banker life in all of its glory. And it was my dream job at first. But then after experiencing sort of those moments when you wonder, what am I doing here? What am I feeling empty? Something's missing. And it took me a lot of time and to go through a lot of denial phases to understand that I was missing a lot of connection and a lot more interaction with people and a lot more meaning and fulfillment in my day-to-day. So then I'm skipping over this period where I dipped into the first stages of burnout. But then I took a step back and I regrouped and I found coaching in my way, which has helped me find my transition. And that transition was coaching. And that's why I decided to work with professionals now to help them live healthier work lives and build more balanced work weeks, as well as transition to more fulfilling careers.
That's what many people are, very jealous of that journey that you've made. So exciting. So of course we want to talk about work-life balance a little bit, and everyone is always looking for tips around this. There's so many books and advice out there, and people don't want to feel alone in this, and they're clearly not. Everyone has different struggles with work-life balance. But to you, what is the secret to really finding that work-life balance?
Okay, so we're having a bit of technical problems when I'm here. So yeah, that's why I'm not in tech. That's why I'm in coaching and not tech. Please work. I spent half an hour setting everything up, and of course, but we will be good in literally 10 seconds.
This is what happens when you're live. It's fine.
Yes, please fill up the stage for 10 more seconds, and I promise I'll get back to everyone again.
Yeah, of course. We got a few more people joining, which is really exciting. Hi, everyone, for joining. Thanks for joining. And great to have everyone here. We are just setting up some technical items, but
and then the lights can be back on. Awesome. Okay, hi. So yeah, you asked me about work-life balance, and the thing, I typically focus on helping professionals in the fields of finance and consulting, which are traditionally known to be fast-paced industries. And in other industries as well that are fast-paced, there's this hustle culture where everyone is constantly pushed to do more and more and more. Even though they have nothing to do, there's sort of this culture of doing to show that you're doing well in life, or to please others, to show how committed and driven you are, and to not be left behind. And so when I work with my clients,
which are busy and exhausted professionals sometimes, or just really ambitious professionals who want to
be more successful, I really tell them that less is more. And for me, that is the secret to a better work-life balance. There is no ideal or cookie cutter approach to work-life balance. There's more, this equilibrium, like this middle ground. And that's why it's really important for us to find our own work-life balance. So what I mean by less is more is it's really important when I work with people who typically work 60 hours plus every week, and if that's your case, if you're watching me live, to understand that you're already doing so much. You already have a lot on your plates. And so when we talk about this concept of work-life balance, we start thinking, I need to balance everything out and make it all happen at once. That is simply not true. Once we have said that, it's really important to recenter and think, listen, so what do I have on my plate right now? And really acknowledge and recognize yourself for all of what you're doing already. And when that's done, ask yourself, number one, what are your top priorities in life? And this is where we deep dive into the different areas of life. Is it your career and finance? Is it your health and fitness? Is it your love life, family, friendships? And when you identify the top 2 or 3 maximum, then you can narrow them down and say, what is my vision of success in these areas? And when you have done that, you can now start thinking, what are the goals that I want to achieve? And divide them into subcategories. And this is how you get your work-life balance. There is a very important component not to forget, which I, implement with all my clients. Once you've step number 1, focused on and identified your priorities. Number 2 is the activities that will fulfill you and recharge you. Because all day long, you exert your mental energy, right? You think, you solve problems at work, and you run around between home and the office. How are you recharging yourself? Thinking about that is really important when it comes to work-life balance, because again, if you only think about priorities and what are my goals, you forget the other part of the equation, which is what will replenish me after doing all these efforts. So this is why we talk about, self-care. It's a huge component of how I work. So identify your priorities, identify what are your top self-care routines that will recharge you, and recognize all that you've already done.
Yeah, definitely. And that can change, right? Like through different periods, through different stages of life, maybe you change your priorities or your main goals. So yeah, really important to reflect on that, I guess.
I love it. I love it. Super important.
Yeah. Okay, great. And so next question is around, so like someone who generally feels stressed out at work every day, all the time, how can they control that and turn it into something positive that make them thrive?
Okay, so first thing to clarify here is that I assume we're talking about acute stress, which is like one-off, stress that's temporary, and that's a result of a physical, emotional stressor, or sudden threats. It's not the chronic stress that's a result of a prolonged exposure to a very stressful and disturbing factor that can lead them to burnout or to other mental health issues that's better dealt with in traditional therapy or with a licensed doctor. So now that we've clarified that, for acute stress, punctual stress, I love sharing, every time I share content, I love sharing my 3 steps to better managing emotions, and stress is one of them. I've had, actually, story time. A few days ago, I've had this nervous breakdown. I traveled somewhere, and I thought I had forgotten something very important to me, and I had put a lot of stress on myself to be on time and not forget anything. When I got back home, I thought that I had lost that thing there. And that created so much stress that I had the breakdown, and I didn't feel good at all. And that's step number one. Like the song from Britney and Will I Am, scream and shout. So it will be ugly. I love that song. Scream and shout, let it all out. So really let your emotions out, and it may look ugly, it's fine. And after I did that, I felt a bit shameful about my reaction, but I was like, no, it is part of the process, because when you feel the magnitude of those emotions really raw, then that pain or that joy, the intensity of those emotions is what will push you to go to step number 2, which is derive the lessons from it. Understand, peel the onion, the layers of the onion, and understand why did that happen in the first place, what triggered that episode. So when you do that, in my case, it was I put a lot of stress to be perfect on that weekend. I wanted everyone to be happy, and I didn't need to do that. So I'm probably and in your case, it could be, why were you so stressed before a client meeting, or why are you freaking out before a job interview? And if you investigate, maybe it's because you think that you're not enough. Maybe you think that they will never hire you, or that you're not competent, or so many reasons. Finding that answer is what will move you to step number 3, is to derive the lessons from it, so that next time it won't happen. This is where you really understand what was behind all of that, and think, okay, now let's put in place some rules, or some habits, or some choices, different choices that will avoid that from happening, prevent that from happening in the future. So in my case, my decisions were, okay, I will make a list of everything that I bring on a trip, and so I will tick that so that I make sure I don't forget anything. I will schedule everything in advance. For you, it might be, I will better prepare my job interviews, one time with a coach, one time with a friend, and one time in a colleague or a peer that works in the industry.
Yeah, definitely. So again, it's about reflecting and knowing yourself, getting to know yourself, right?
Absolutely. That's the whole purpose. We're not here to say just feel the emotions and that's it. The whole purpose behind it is a self-growth.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. And in terms of then working a lot, feeling like you're working a lot, you're putting a lot of energy into work, but you're not getting noticed, maybe by your boss or your team or your management. How can you turn that around?
Yeah. So the step number 1 here, I mean, it's so understandable. I know that your community is filled with really ambitious women and professionals and that really strive to go the extra mile and learn and prove themselves. And sometimes, doing that can lead us to overdo it, overwork, and stretch ourselves thin. But working really hard doesn't lead automatically to being noticed and recognized. A lot of professionals that approach me really tell me, I work a lot. I'm stretching myself so thin that I'm on the edge of burnout, yet I crave more recognition. And that's often one of the top reasons for why people switch industries, right? The step number 1 here, self-validate. It starts with us. It starts within. If deep down you think, I'm not enough, what I'm doing is not good enough, no matter how much you do, people will perceive that energy, because your choices, your actions, and your thoughts, and the result in the vibe with you will say, I'm good, but I'm still waiting for your approval. I'm not sure. And this is so hard to do. But it's possible with coaching and with self-development and getting to know yourself. That's step number 1. Once you're really sure and confident about your added value on the market and in the job, step number 2, counterintuitive, take breaks. Take breaks. What I mean by that is, again, we're going back to this logic of less is more that I shared in question 1. Take breaks between work. Women often tend to, and I will quote my reference to this in a few moments. Women tend to work so much and don't take breaks and just go at it and be really, really focused and serious at work. And it happened to me in the past in banking. Like, I would myself do that. Work, barely take breaks and ask for more work. And I saw some male counterparts just hang loose around the open space and take breaks and take cigarette breaks. And I would say, well, why are they getting more deals? Why are they having do they have more visibility? When you take breaks, you offer yourself this stage to sell yourself, to promote yourself, to communicate. And this can look like a candid conversation with you and your teammates and your boss and managers to say, hey, so what are you working on? Which deal? Oh yeah, I'm working on this deal, and this is what we've done so far, and this is what I'm working on. This is the milestone I have achieved. Between getting a coffee, it takes no more than 3 to 5 minutes, in the cafeteria kitchen or in the chat. Boom, you've just shared what you're working on. And so people start knowing what, she's not just behind her desk and no one knows what she's doing. They know. So communicate. And finally, when the project is done or when someone comes up to you and shares a compliment, try not to say, I was nothing. Yeah, but it's okay. Accept that compliment and say, yes, I worked hard on this. And the team as well worked hard on this. And I'm grateful and I'm happy. We're proud of what we've achieved as a team. But do not remove yourself from the equation and say, oh, it's okay. And there's one book, all of you who's watching and everyone who's watching the replay, please read my all-time favorite book on the topic, which is Girls.
Did we lose you? Having some technical issues. Stay put. Hello. I think we got a bit of connection issue. Hold on. Sorry, everyone. We are getting back on it. I think Wafa's Wi-Fi dropped completely. You can hear me. Great. Thank you. Okay. This happens when you do live stuff. I'm just going to try and invite her again and see if we can get her back. Oops, not quite working. Let's see if she's in the YouTube. All right, we seem to have some technical issues. We will try and get back soon. If you want to step out for a minute, feel free. I can see she's dropped off the YouTube as well, so it's just me. Hold on, maybe now. See if I got it back. Waf, are you back?
This is so embarrassing. I don't know what to say. And told me we had to shut down your phone because it's too hot. So I don't know what to do to keep it cool. And guys, like I have 10, so I don't know what else I can do.
Don't worry. This is what happens. We can all deal with it.
Just keep going on. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for your patience. And if anyone has tips on how to keep your iPhone cool during lives, please DM me and email me.
Exactly.
Okay, where were we?
Okay, so you were talking about the
book.
The book, yes.
Yeah, so Carol Drake, Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office, must read book for this.
Okay, good. We might need to put that down. Great. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So kind of leading on from the previous question, how do you know when to say no to an opportunity without missing out on any career opportunities?
I love this question because it's a tricky topic. I always say there's no cookie cutter approach to this one. I think it really depends on what are your goals and priorities. I always start off with talking about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It depends on where you are. First of all, consider to pay off a student mortgage, or a student loan, or your mortgage, or to attend to your family or whatnot. Maybe it's not the right time for you to quit or to switch jobs, and that's totally fine. Maybe your goal is to actually make it to the next corporate ladders, the next rank. So you want to become an associate or a VP. And if this is what you really want deep down, and you're okay with staying in a toxic workplace or in a company that doesn't suit you, but because you're hell-bent on making that happen, just stay there. It really is up to you. So consider the hierarchy of needs from Maslow's pyramid. Once you're clear about where you're at in the pyramid, so once all of your basic needs are attended to, and then you sort of now are ready to elevate yourself, or you're craving more fulfillment, more recognition, more responsibility, you're ready to step out, then I would say think about, okay, what's your goal now? If your goal is to switch, then go ahead and do it, and either take a block leave or 15 days off to think about it. Maybe how I do with my clients, work with a coach. I reach out to Kossie as well to ask a question and figure out how to do that while you're on the job without having to step out. Maybe take a sabbatical and take the steps, which we'll cover in the next question, is to make that happen. I've spoken to, I literally have spoken to different types of clients. I have one client who is up for promotion to become a VP, and she wants to switch, but she wants her promotion, and she will not leave that on the table. So she made the choice to stay and work really hard, but at the same time get professional help to figure out bit by bit, step by step throughout the year how to make that transition happen for her. I have another client who, tried to do both at the same time, to stay and, get the promotion, but at the same time switch. But she was so burnt out that at some point she was like, the bonus isn't worth it. I want to leave now. So she asked her company if she could step out for 2 months, and the company said, yeah, we obviously see that you're not doing okay. Let's have you off on the bench for 2 months, not paid, but to give you space to think. And she leveraged those 2 months to work with me, and she got her professional transition, and now she quit. So again, the bottom line here is think about where you are in life. What's your top priority? Is it to switch? Is it to pay a rent? And then think, are you doing that while you're at your current job, or are you taking a step back, and how can you make that happen for you? Yeah. How clear is that?
Yeah. No, exactly. That makes total sense. And I think, again, it goes back to kind of revisiting your priorities and and what you are ultimately after at this point in time, and maybe longer term as well. Okay, cool. So next question we have, so any tips or guidance of what you could say to your manager if you feel like you need to take some time out, or you need some time to yourself, essentially?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. This is also a very an awkward move many professionals hesitate to do. And what I always share with my clients is, number one, observe the team culture. Observe for doing anything. Put yourself in observation mode. Observe what's going on. Like, what are the rules? What's accepted in your team? In certain teams, it's okay to take breaks often during the day. It's okay to go to the gym between, the lunch break, or between 6 and 7 before the client sends the pitch deck or a document. In other teams, it's not acceptable. You need to be glued to your desk all day. Otherwise, your performance review will not be that good. Observe. If you're a newcomer in the team, ask other people who've worked there before, or who are still there, that are comfortable opening up to you, that you're comfortable asking. and gather that data and that information so that you know how to behave and how to, position yourself elegantly. When you've done that, I would say be honest with yourself. Let's be real here. Be honest with yourself and ask yourself, do I really deserve that time off right now? And we're back to the inner work. We're back to how you perceive yourself is how everything else, shows up in your life. And if deep down you think, I've been bored, I've been slacking, which is totally fine. Sometimes we have our engagement levels drops off. There's probably a very practical and tangible reason behind that, no judgment. Maybe it's because you're bored, maybe because you're burnt out, maybe because you're not recognized. There are many, many multiple reasons that we're not covering here. But if deep down you know that you've been slacking and you don't deserve that vacation, you want to be comfortable asking for it. If no matter what, you feel comfortable asking for it because you know you deserve it and now it's time, then go for it. Step 3, be a team player. Communicate very clearly and anticipate your team's needs. So if you know you're in the middle of a super important deadline, is it the right time to ask for a vacation? If other people can cover up your deals, then go ahead. If not, see how you can find solution before asking to bridge that gap, to make that okay. It also reflects good on your reputation if you show that you anticipate and you think ahead. And also you're aligned with your company's goals. You're not just like saying, okay, guys, I'm taking a break here. I don't care about you,
Yeah.
So again, here, this is really important for your reputation to think ahead. And when you've done all that due diligence work, step number 4, stay. Don't ask. You've gathered all that data. There's a reason behind it. It's because you will leverage that data to affirm what you want, to ask for what you want, to say what you want, but put it out and raise your voice. And all the work you've done before will make it strong and powerful and confident and not like, can I go on a holiday? I'm not sure. So all the things you've done before will give you that confidence to raise your voice and ask for what you want. And finally, if we want to go to the extra mile here, there's this framework I always share with my clients and when I do content online is the DESC approach. D stands for describe. So describe why you want to take a step out or take a break. Maybe you've been, you've been acing it at work. You've accomplished so much. You've been really performing well. Get into the office. When you ask for that time out or that vacation, start with saying what you've done and how you've been performing lately. I'm so happy I've been contributing to this deal. We've reached that milestone. This is what happened. Start with the positive. So you describe, the whole context, and then you explain the emotion. I feel so excited about what, we've been accomplishing, looking forward to what's next. But before that, I need a break to sort of regroup. I need to go to my sister's wedding. I need to, go to my nephew's game or whatnot. And so that's step number 2 is explain, the emotions and why you need that break and why, it's important for you and why it would be important for them as well to have you relaxed and, calm and recentered.
Yeah.
And finally, S is the solution. So the solution here is how you want to make it happen. So this is, again, where the due diligence we've done before works, because then you'll say, so I know that around this time would be a good time for the team for me to step out because there's no major deal. Or I've talked with X and Y, and they've told me that they can cover up for my deals then. So, what does HR think about that? What does the staffer think about that? And finally, the conclusion is sort of bring it back to their goals, to the team's goals. Show that you're a team player again for your reputation. So here is, after those 2 weeks, I'm already really excited about working on this deal or calling this content, pitching them. I've already done an intro chat with them last week, and they're really looking forward to, ramping this up after I come back. How clear is this?
Yeah, no, I think there's some really good points there. And of course you want to, be a team player because, if someone else goes on holiday, you will want them to do the same thing, right? So it's all about that as well. I like that point. Okay, great. And then, I mean, you've obviously made a big career change, and I'm sure many people are thinking about that or have been thinking about that, especially during the last 2 years. So what advice would you give to someone who is looking to completely change their career?
This is one of the top questions that's been asked to me, obviously, because I have done a 0 to 180 degree career transition from finance to coaching, obviously, in less than 6 months. Disclaimer, like, I have done a full-on workshop about this on my website, wafflebella.com/career transition made simple, which the ladies and Lynn in London will link on there. But the first thing is understand why you're not happy. Understand what's working, what's not working in your current position. Make that list, get really clear about it. Again, we're back to your emotions. What's going on there? Once you're clear about that, ask yourself, is it the right time for me? And again, as we've discussed previously a few moments ago, there's no ideal time. It's really what works for you and your needs and what's going on in your life, your current responsibilities in life and at work. If you have a mortgage, if you have a loan, if you have people to support, is it the right time for you to make a switch? If you're burned out, that's also a motive to switch, because, I mean, your health is at risk. So understand why you're not happy, understand if it's the right time, and then when you've made the decision that yes, and if you do so, then network, on LinkedIn and with your peers, to prove your skills, to understand if you're a good fit, if you have transferable skills that would, allow you to make that move. But another unconventional advice that's that's underrated, which has proven to be extremely useful in my case, is to network outside of your circles, way before you think about switching, way before you're unhappy at work. Hang out on the weekends or in the evenings after work with people that don't work in your industry. This is exactly what I've done, and it's hugely beneficial, because you start getting these fresh perspectives. You start seeing how other people in other industries work and behave. What are their value system? How does it differ from yours and from the people in your industry? And you start breaking those binders that we have, and you get out of that mold that we inevitably fit into after some time in an industry. And that's really useful, because then it allows you to sort of get out of your comfort zone and understand, something else is out there. What do I think about that? And once you've gathered all that information, you've gotten those fresh perspectives, and you know that now is the time, then, either you do it on your own. And so there's 3 steps. You get clear on what is it that you want to do career-wise, which industry and what role you want to work in. And then you brand yourself. You make sure that you have this very relevant brand of a professional, of course, that's proficient and that has the skills that are asked for in that new position that you want to fill. And you brand yourself. That includes, of course, the resume, the networking, the motivation letter, the cover letter, as you guys say in English in Britain. And then you reach out to people. You apply. And the way, and if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to do this alone. If you don't feel comfortable, you can reach out to a professional, a career coach on Kossie, by the way. There are many of them. I'm one of them. And then we work through, personally, my steps is to clarify your vision, understand your value system, your wants, your desires as an individual, as a professional. And then I take into account the energy levels. I take into account your mental energy, physical energy, your spiritual energy, where you are. If you're drained, all of those resumes and all of those applications don't mean anything. It's just work for work. It's empty. So make sure that you're aligned and energized to get that work done after work is paramount. It's really important. And finally, the 2 other steps we work through is the rebrand, as I described. So resume, cover letter, networking, and LinkedIn. And finally, the research, which is seek all those offers that you want to apply to, online or offline, and then reach out to people. That's a lot, right?
I mean, it sounds kind of simple, but I know it's not. But yeah, I think it's good to hear those things, and that, you know, it's possible. People need to be told it's possible. So thanks for that. That's great. So we are sort of running out of time. I had one more question, which was about self-esteem. I know it's quite a big one, but do you want to touch on that like quickly?
Yes, super quickly. Listen, self-esteem all boils down to the way we perceive ourselves when we're by ourselves. And I think, you know, if you want, I mean, for all of us, when having a strong self-esteem comes down to what we do. When we make a promise to ourselves, are we holding that promise? Lauren Zender, in her book Maybe It's You, talks in depth about how to make your promises stick, and how to not lie to yourself. When you say, tomorrow morning I'll wake up at 5 a.m., you make that happen. When you say, I will go to the gym 3 times a week, you make that happen. Because when that doesn't happen, that's when a flood of negative emotions come in, and shame and guilt and sadness and anger come in, and you start thinking, oh, I'm lazy. Oh, I'm too weak. I'm not enough. And then it starts becoming this, you know, new identity of, you know, I'm lazy after work. I never work on my career position, you know, or I never speak up in a meeting as a woman. Like, I'm not a strong woman. You are, probably. You're most likely a strong woman. It's just that, you know, you made yourself the promise to start doing something and you didn't. Does it mean that you're not good enough, or you're a loser, or you're incompetent, or, you know, all those tags we throw in, you know? And no, it doesn't. It just means that maybe you should revisit the promise you made to yourself. So instead of asking yourself to go to the gym 3 times a week, or to speak up at a meeting, maybe start speaking up in front of the mirror. Maybe just prep your bag the night before, and that's it. And when you've done that consistently for a few days, then kick it up a notch, and, you know, start talking to your VP or your manager one-to-one, and you carry on that way. So, self-esteem.
Yeah, that's really good. It's a good little size bite there, bite size. So I know there was a question around the book, so I just wanted to, can you confirm again what the book was called?
Yes, so it's from it's Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. Yes.
Great. Thank you very much.
And it's from Lois P. Frankel, by the way. Sorry, earlier I had said another author because I was thinking about the lights and everything going down, but it's Lois P. Frankel.
Okay, great. I posted in the chat there. Okay, awesome. So I think we're kind of at time. Wafa, do you want to maybe just recap on the session we've had? Like, what are kind of the key things you want people to take with them after this session?
Absolutely. Everyone, step number 1 is make things simple. You are ambitious. You're achievers. You work a lot. We all have a lot on our plates in these busy days today, nowadays. And less is more. Make things simple. You can excel at work and as well excel in your private life. It just means, where are you setting the bar? Make it low. It doesn't mean that you're less ambitious. It just means that you're conscious about everything you've been accomplishing so far. So that's really important. Simple. And consistency goes way longer than going all in, go hard or go home mentality. Step number 2, it starts with you. The way we perceive ourselves, what we think about ourselves, you know, shows up in the world, and it sends energy to others. So that's why self-development, self-care are huge, and they're underrated. Every time there's a career conversation, everyone starts talking about the technicalities of the resumes and whatnot. Who cares? If you don't feel like you're a good fit for the position, if you don't have confidence in yourself when you go to bed at night, you know, why bother do all these things? You know, do them in conjunction, and they don't need to be perfect. Just start acknowledging everything you've been doing in the past, and you're enough today. You're whole today, and you're great. And finally, see yourself in others. Take them into account. At the office, I know sometimes there are conflicts, there are awkward situations, and asking for a promotion, asking for, you know, a 2-week leave, sometimes is uncomfortable. Asking for a job as well to get hired is a bit awkward. rejection comes in play in these situations. Is not easy, right? Think about put yourself in other people's shoes. We're like mirrors to each other's, and so that's why it's important to anticipate what are they thinking, why are they doing what they're doing, so that you can position yourself more strategically and make your demands in a way that's more compelling and heard. And that's doing that will show how will speaks volumes in how emotionally intelligent you are.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. And if people want to get in touch with you, where can they find you?
Okay, so first I want to thank Kossie for having me on their panels today and representing the brand.
Yes.
Really grateful. They're a great team. They work really hard. So check kossie.co.uk. They have coaches about career, relationships, and wellness, and so many other topics. So check them out. You can find me in there, kossie.co.uk/Coach Wafa, to ask me questions and get bite-sized, quick advice. If you want a more in-depth session after session coaching and transformational coaching, then go to my website, wafarilla.com. And there, I help professionals around the world, whether they're graduates or active, seasoned professionals that work in big corporations, to transition careers, to get clear on what's next for them career-wise, and to infuse more balance and live healthier lives in and out of work.
Amazing.
And of course, my YouTube channel, Wellness with Wafa, guys. I'm streaming for the first time there. Give me some love.
Yeah, and you went so. No, that's great. Yeah, thanks, Wafa. I'm sure we put the links in here and people can see them in our Instagram as well if they want to find you. So that's great. And if as always, if anyone excuse me wants to get in touch with Lean in London, you can either do it here through the Instagram, through our LinkedIn page, or through our email, hello@leaninlondon.org.uk.
Final word. Thank you, Lean in London, as well, for trusting me for hosting this live. Thank you for your patience. Also, everyone who's watching for the technical issues. And thank you for all those questions that were extremely engaging and relevant. So thank you, everyone.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Wafa. Thanks to the audience, and have a great evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.